Let your third breath be for the four-footed and the feathered ones, for the buffalo and the prairie chickens, for the fishes in your rivers, and for all the creatures of this good earth. And let your fourth breath be for the Ongwihanui. Let your prayer be that your tribe will always remain among them, and that one day the people who remain true to reality will include all the nations of the world. At this time she had not yet opened the pouch in which she held the pipe. Now she slowly untied the leather thongs that bound it, and lifting a corner reached within to pull from the white-skin pouch a pipe of red stone. The manner in which she raised this pipe for all to see spoke of such reverence that all within the great tepee grew still. Many in that moment found their hearts full. Tears glistened in many eyes. "This sacred pipe," spoke White Buffalo Calf Woman, "and every breath of sacred smoke you breathe through its stem will help you remember that every breath you take is sacred. The bowl of the pipe is made of red stone. It is in the shape of a circle. It symbolizes the sacred hoop, the sacred circle of giving and receiving, of inbreathing and outbreathing, in which all living things come to life through the power of the Great One." Asking for some tobacco, White Buffalo Calf Woman filled the pipe, saying, "This tobacco I know was grown in your most fertile soil and given your most special care. It symbolizes the plant world, the moss upon the stones, the flowers, the herbs, the leaves of grass that cover the hillsides, lest your mother lie naked in the sun. You, my people of the Sioux, are here to care for the earth. Your life is lit from that same fire that burns in the heart of the Great Spirit, Wankan Taka." So saying, she struck a small twig into the fire until it burned brightly. "Just as I light this individual twig from the great fire that burns in the center of this tepee, so each individual human being is a flame taken from the eternal fire of God's love." Slowly she moved the flaming twig away from the central fire and held it up for all to see. "This, your individual human life, like the single flame that burns upon this twig, is sufficient to light a great fire. As long as the love that burns within you is turned towards self-centered pursuits, it will remain tiny like this flame. Remaining tiny, it will bring you no joy. Eventually, in the swirling winds of spirit, it will be extinguished. But when you live in harmony with the Great Spirit, your flame of love is fanned by those same spirit winds. You are in love with the very purpose of life. You light the fire of love in all you meet. You know the purpose of your walk through this world, and you know why the Great One gave you a life flame, not so that you could keep your tiny flame to yourself, loving what you need alone, but so that you could give it away, and with the fire of your love, bring consciousness to the earth." So saying, she held the burning twig until the flame was just above the red bowl of the pipe. To the pipe's center she touched the fire, inhaling softly through the stem until the tobacco glowed brightly. The first wafts of the sacred smoke drifted through the room. It was as if those present were seeing a pipe lit for the first time. "Just as the tobacco that burns within this pipe of earth represents the plant kingdom," continued White Buffalo Calf Woman, "so this buffalo you see carved on the stone bowl of the pipe represents the four-legged creatures that share with you this sacred world, Ethan Noha. These 12 feathers hanging from the stem of the pipe have come from Wambi Galinshka, the spotted eagle. They are to remind you of the feathered races with whom you share the great circle of the sky. But they are also to remind you of your spirit selves, the bird tribes, the winged ones of heaven. As I now pass this pipe to you, and you give thanks to the Great Spirit with your first breath of tobacco, let these feathers remind you of the spirit beings who come from the stars to brighten your human lives. Let these 12 sacred feathers draw your thoughts up and away from the gravity of petty and jealous passions. Let your thoughts fly like these feathers have once flown on Wambi Galishka, high above the world of the little self. Take this pipe. Give your thanks to the Great Spirit and pass the pipe to the others in our circle. Let your thoughts be lifted up to the Great One who comes now to stir your memories and to open the eyes of your storytellers. Every dawn that dawns, red in your eastern sky, like the red bowl of this pipe, is the birth of a new and holy day. And just as the rising sun drives out the darkness, so the light that shines in the lives of all those who love drives out the darkness of self-centeredness and dissolves the shadows that cause misfortune. Remember always to treat every creature as a sacred being, the people that live beyond the mountains, the winged ones of the air, the four-footed, the fishes that hide beneath the cool rocks in silver streams and lakes. All of these are your sisters and your brothers. All are sacred parts in the body of the Great Spirit. Each one is holy. The most difficult part of this teaching may be to extend this respect to the people of your neighboring tribes. Remember, like you, they are sacred people, given a specific work to do in the great being of Wankantaka. Their work is not your own. Their tasks differ from yours, but the purpose you serve is the same. The sun that shines upon you does not see you as being so very different. In peace you must live side by side with these who are of a different shade of the color red. For a people are coming soon who do not share the color of your skin, but who are white like the snow that falls in the winter months. With them will also come those of black skin, and those of yellow skin, and those of colors in between. Just as the colors blend together in rainbows that arch across the prairie when the storm is past, so you must tell the white races, the black races, and the yellow ones, when they come, that though you are of red skin, you are first and foremost people of the Great Spirit. Through peaceful blending with your neighboring tribes, be an inspiration to the wandering peoples. Help lead all races into the harmony of the rainbow. And then the pipe was passed, and she was silent until all those present had taken their first smoke. A second time the pipe was passed in reverence for the earth, a third for the four-footed and winged. A fourth time the pipe was passed in reverence for the many tribes of humankind, those of the distant past, those living now, and those yet to be. After all gathered in the great tepee had completed their fourth smoke, White Buffalo Calf-Woman raised the pipe reverently before her for all to see. Carry your pipe with you always. Treat it as a sacred object. Honor all creatures and live your life in harmony with the sacred way of balance, of which every tree, every flower, and every new day speaks. There will be many seasons when your heart will feel clear and pure as a mountain spring, and you will know the peace and joy of the Great Spirit. But should ever your steps falter, now or in the more troubled times to come, if ever you feel that you have stepped aside from the path of the sacred way, if ever your heart should feel heavy within you, do not waste time in regret. I will give you a ceremony, she said, filling the pipe once more and relighting it from the sacred fire. A ceremony within each of you, which each of you can do in company with others, alone in your lodge or out upon the prairie. Stop your activities, find a rock upon which to sit, asking for the Great Spirit's guidance as I have taught you. Unwrap your pipe and let its red bowl remind you of the sacred road, the way of life, the red pathway of the sun. After you have smoked your smokes to the Great Spirit, to the earth, to the animals, and to the people who are true to reality, after you have given your thanks to the four directions, then take a fifth smoke, asking for the guidance of the great winged beings of the spirit world. Ask the particular winged being of the spirit world that is closest to you to help you see the wisest path to follow. Ask that spirit to help you make the clearest choice, to help you know the steps you are to take upon the path that your deepest knowing would have you travel. In time you will come to know that spirit being as your own true self.